of dfw-trns. The room next door, they usually will sing. So if somebody starts singing or anything like that, we may have to, come up with something and be a little creative there, right? All right. I will probably spend about 3 to 4 minutes on this slide. There's a couple of slides in here that I would say are, kind of money. This is one of my slides that I absolutely love. These are some of the tactics that I use and strategies that I implement and leverage that are different. Anybody that's worked with me in the past knows that I kind of leverage these on a daily basis. So the ERP blast. This is one that typically will work for internal corporate recruiters, but I've seen from an agency side, you can also do it with your hires that you've brought into an organization at the same time. But what you do, the ERP blast technique is just nothing more than taking the employee referral program or the job that you're looking for and basically saying, I'm looking for someone. Make it very easy for the person. Think about it, it's like a targeted mailer, but it's actually for corporate recruiters. You're putting money aside to it. What I end up doing on a corporate side is I will get the highest ranking person, like I do a lot of recruiting for the sales and marketing team. So I will get, for marketing, the chief marketing officer to send this out. Reason being is that a lot of times they'll always open that email from the chief marketing officer if they're in marketing. But, and I'd love to say they'd open my emails, but I think it's probably a little lower on the totem pole from that guy. So what happens is, if you do the ERP blast, you're putting it into a Cliff Notes version of what you're looking for, and then what they can get, what's in it for them, and then have this chief marketing officer say, hey, send your candidates to Jim. I give him my email address, and also send them through the system. Reason being is that you guys know many a time, sometimes the candidates just will do the wrong thing. They'll come up as a duplicate in the system, they'll just do something silly. But if you've got them via email as well, that's one thing that I try to make sure that I do. The next one, sit, source, remind. This is something that's kind of my claim that I haven't, I really have not done a copyright on this or anything, but it's a technique that I leverage. What I do as part of my kickoff call with all of my customers is I will go in and think about it. If you take the ERP blast, Sit, Source, Remind is nothing more than a passive employee referral program, if you think about it. You go into your organization and you basically sit down with all of your hires, or maybe your best hires that you've had over the last, maybe 5 years, or 2 years, or 1 year. And you basically would sit down with them and say, sit down and source them. Who do you know that does this? And they'll be like, well, I really don't know anyone that's looking. We've all heard that, right? Or I've got my friend that does this over here that is blah, blah, blah. And you're like, thank you, appreciate that. Anybody else? And they're like, no. What I do is then pull out this list that I've gotten from LinkedIn, Zoom Info, whatever you have access to, and I pull out this list of reminding them, remember you worked over at Anderson, remember you worked over at XYZ, remember you worked at EDS, remember you worked here. That you just remind them, these are all the people that you worked with. You can sometimes print out their friends, you can print out, everybody that does, IT at Perot Systems, or I'm using names of companies that don't exist anymore. But, but the thing is that you remind them, and then what I do is I have them go through on a red, yellow, and green. Red means good, yellow is, red means bad, steer clear, yellow is questionable, or I maybe don't know them, and green is go after them. And then what I actually will then do is say, hey, if you put in a call to them and help me do my job, meaning that call them, get them interested in the job, I may give you a referral fee for that one, under the employee referral piece. So, any questions on that one? Okay, stock the pond. Basically, this is another technique using a targeted mailer. You guys probably already use targeted mailers all the time, using email. But here's something that I do. Whether you have access to Monster, whether you have access to any system for candidates to come in, what I more or less do is I have my job pool of candidates, right? I have my people that are in the system. But what I will try to do then is take them and I'll put the candidates that I think fit, have them qualify themselves on my jobs on the entry. So what I do is I put kind of pre-qualifying like e-screens up front. Some people send those out via email. I have them electronically captured in the system to where I'll put like an e-screen in questionnaires that I have in the system. So basically what I will then do is I will take my email blast, I go into the system and I will do a search for people that aren't currently in my job pool that may have applied or may be out of Monster or may have a fit to what I'm looking for, but I don't have time to email and call them all. So what I'm going to do, and let me back up, I do have time to email them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of say, hey, I saw your profile out there, don't know whether you're a match or not, but here's a clip of my job description that I'm looking for. If you or somebody else that you know might be interested, apply to this job. They come in, they pre-qualify themselves, and then I put questions like, you know, are they open to relocation? Are they open to what's their salary parameters? You know, so you're actually pre-qualifying them like you would on an e-screen. Some of this stuff, guys, is very basics, but the other one is that you kind of get into doing your thing. You know, you look at LinkedIn, you look at Monster, you look at all the different things. Sometimes these are techniques and tactics that are out there that are that you just sometimes need to be reminded of. Alumni of the company, whatever company you're at, don't ever hesitate, especially in today's world where people either one have been downsized or people have been they've moved to a different company and then are now looking, or they may want to return. All they're doing a lot of times is waiting for that shoulder tap just to say, it's okay to come back. We still love you. So boomerangs and alumni I have found have been a great avenue for finding candidates. Silver medalists, for anyone that is not familiar with that term, this is one where when you have 2 to 3 really strong candidates, it's unfortunate, but you can only have one person that gets the job. Unfortunately, what happens is sometimes we lose those candidates if there was only one job. So if you keep a finger on the pulse of where those candidates are, whether you have a CRM tool or whether it's Outlook, follow up with this person in 6 months, whatever, the people that were clear as we would hire them if we have another job for them, just keep track of them. And then the other one that I do is a college database. What I try to do is I try to actually take all the college students that came through that we interviewed and we liked, I'll put them in a database, and then 4 years from now, I've kept track of them, or I'll link to them on LinkedIn or whatever. That's your pool where somebody says, we're looking for an MBA with 4 years of experience. Well, hello, I took a download of everybody. Let's say that you go to a conference, you go to a career fair, whatever. So I just wanted to share that as a couple things. Pretty good stuff.